Yo, what is going on, guys? Podhead here, and today we're gonna be jumping into another substance review. I just wanted to address something really quick that some of you guys saw on my Instagram. I responded to a question one of you guys asked, and you asked if I was gonna continue doing YouTube videos or whatever. I am gonna continue doing YouTube videos. I just don't know if I'm gonna do many more, if any, life stories. I guess this is technically a life story, so that's cap, but I don't know. The videos where it's just a life story seem like a little, I don't know, similar to me, or just, I want to do something that's, I can at least help out with, and I feel like with these substance review videos that I tell a story, and then I can hopefully at least provide a little bit of advice or, something that you can take from the video instead of just hearing something from me. With that being said, today we're going to talk about the first time and really the only time I've done acid. I did it one other time, but I'm pretty sure it was research chemicals. So I'm going to count this as the one and only time because it was way different than the other time I did the quote unquote acid. So it all starts out with I was dating this girl like 2 years back, and she was super into like acid and like vaping and tapestries and shit like that. And she's one of those girls. And I was dating her, and she was like, "Oh, we should totally trip together." And I didn't know where to get acid, but she did. So I just trusted her. Never do that. Always, go to a valued, trusted plug that you trust. Don't just because someone else trusts someone, don't trust that person. That's a common mistake that happens a lot these days. But so she hits up her friend on Snapchat or whatever. She finds someone with tabs. I don't know the dosage or anything really. Yeah, no. Oh, I fucked up. Like, you should definitely do more research than I did. That's why I probably went into this. I didn't have too good of an experience, but whatever. We'll talk. I had a quote unquote bad trip, but we'll talk about it. So we buy 2 tabs for I think like $15 each, so like $30, whatever, none major. I drove there, by the way. So, and she was like, I wanted to take it right as we bought it, or she wanted to, but regardless, we took them right as we bought them, which was not a good idea because I still had like an hour to drive home. She was like, what, it'll be fine. Like, it doesn't really kick in that fast. Like, blah, 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 blah. So when we started driving back, we probably left the parking lot where we bought the tabs like 3 minutes after we popped them. And I'm driving, and for some reason, like, it felt like I was in like a Fast and Furious movie. Like, I was seeing like all these lines and like ways to go through the traffic that I'd never like seen before. I don't really know how to explain it, but it was just so clear to me how I had to get around this traffic. So I'm driving this big ass car. I used to drive an Audi S8. If you want to look that up, a 2008 version, they're massive, bro. Huge ass car. So I'm whipping this thing like 100 miles an hour through traffic, like terrible idea. Awful idea. But I'm just like seeing all these lines and like holes that I can just go into, and it was working perfectly. It was like I was like following, in Need for Speed. It might be Need for Speed, or it might be Forza, and there's that like line that you can follow on the track. I was like that, but in real life. It was super weird, bro. So anyways, I do this drive. Luckily, nothing happens. I didn't get pulled over. I didn't crash, and drove home perfectly fine. Get back to the house, and I'm still chilling, to be honest with you. Like, at this point, it'd probably been the drive was like an hour. So I'd probably been like an hour and 5 minutes since I popped the tab. Wasn't really feeling too much yet. So I roll up a blunt, and I pour up some lean, because that's all I did back then, just drink lean and smoke weed. And I didn't know this, but don't smoke weed on acid. Like, that shit just gives you anxiety attacks. But she didn't tell me this. I guess she didn't really know that either, or whatever. She should have if she had as much experience as she claimed. But anyways, roll this weed up, pour up a cup, and I'm outside. And I remember smoking on my porch with my girl, and the sun is setting, and as soon as it got dark out, my blunt was still like halfway through, I just got super scared. Like, as soon as the light was gone, I was just like, whoa, fuck, like, this is terrifying. Like, I was super anxious all of a sudden. I was just like smoking the blunt, and I'm like, I'm done with this. Like, do you want this? And she's like, no. So I just put it out. I don't even think I smoked the rest of it ever. Like, I just threw it somewhere or something. And I started hitting my cup because usually that makes me feel better. But for some reason, like it just kept, everything made me more and more anxious. Because I think as soon as you like give in to the anxiety a little bit when you're tripping, like you can either have like a good trip where it's like a super like serotonin based trip where it just you're happy the whole time, or you can have a bad trip where it's super anxiety based. At least that's what I've experienced. Yeah, this was an anxiety ridden fucking trip. But you know, I had Xans on me. Never do acid without Xanax, because Xanax is like a get out of jail free card for a bad trip. But I didn't know that until like hours later. So scared as fuck, like super anxious. I didn't really want to tell my girl because I didn't want to make her anxious, but she probably was anxious too. But so we're just like kind of like pacing around my house, like we're trying to like watch a movie or something. But it's at like 3 hours in, like I couldn't even open my eyes. Like I was so scared to open my eyes and see like what the world looked like that I was just under a blanket, like with my eyes closed, like terrified, bro. And so eventually she's like, yo, we gotta get out of the house. Like, this is too much for me. Like, I gotta move. And I was like, all right, yeah, for sure. So we're walking around my house, and I lived in kind of like not like a suburby area. It's kind of like in the woods almost. So we're walking around these woods, and I still have the blanket over my head. And I'm just like holding on to her, and she's just like directing me. And it's pitch black out. It's probably like 9 p.m. in the wintertime. So that in Colorado is like dark as fuck. And so we go sit by this stream by my house, and I'm still just under this blanket, just like, you know, trying to survive, bro. Because I was freaking out. And she's just, you know, telling me to breathe, like in and out, you know, like regular stuff. And I'm just like still freaking out. And eventually, like, I kind of like just like stop thinking about how much I'm freaking out and just like kind of like let the world kind of calm me down. I start like hearing the stream a little bit, and the water sound is kind of calming me down, and you know, I'm getting into it a little bit. And so I finally pull this blanket off my head, and I remember this like, I don't know, like I remember nothing else. Like it was so vivid in my head. Like I pulled this blanket off, and I just saw this like these lights, like I think there were stars in the sky, because you can see a ton of stars from my house, but it looked like they were building like a crystal stairway for like a McMansion type house, like one of those like nice ass stairways. And I was like, whoa, like that's crazy. And she's like, what? And I'm like, they're building our house. And she's like, what? And yeah, that's ridiculous. But so anyways, we get I'm still like honestly like freaking out. Like, so I'm like, yo, can we go back to the house? And she's like, yeah, whatever. So we get back to the house, and I'm like, can you look up like how to make an acid trip end? Because these tabs were definitely strong. Like we were like, I want to say like we probably bought them at 4. It was like 10 p.m. We were like 6 hours in at this point, and it was not slowing down. So my girlfriend goes on her phone for like the 15 seconds that she can without like, you know, dying from being on your phone. And she just looks up what to do for bad acid trip. And the first thing is benzos, benzodiazepine. And I'm like, really? Because I have a lot of Xans. And she's like, okay, really? Well, that we should be okay then. And so I'm like, I want this to end like now though. And she's like, okay, well, we can just snort it. And I was like, what? Like, you can snort Xanax? And she was like, yeah. But don't snort Xanax, because in reality, like, it might feel like a placebo effect, but it really, like, it digests in your stomach. So regardless of how you take it, it's going to hit you for the same amount of time, the same, all of that. And if you snort it, like, you get all that disgusting powder in your nose, and it's just, it sucks. But anyways, so I wasn't really thinking straight. So I was just like, hell yeah, let's snort it. Like, just railing down lines of bars. I think we probably snorted like 2 whole Xans before I started to like, you know, like breathe regularly again, and like just like, fuck man, like just feel better. And eventually, like, I probably did like 2 Xans and with this girl, so like 1 bar each, and I felt way better. Like my heart wasn't beating as fast, or as like how I felt, you know. And you know, I was able to like open my eyes and watch some TV and just kind of chill out, you know, have a better time, even though it was pretty much like the end of the trip and I just wanted to go to bed, and I was basically just like looking for a way out. So I did the Xan. But yeah, so that was the first time I did acid, and it was cool. I'm not a big psychedelic guy, so I don't think I'm ever doing it again. I might do mushrooms just because those are like from the earth, and it seems way more like real to me. But Other than that, like, psychedelics aren't really for me. If you are gonna do them, two things I would say is, one, make sure you have Zans, and two, do it with people that you like really want to do it with. Like, just because like you might be with some people at like a party or like after school or even during school, maybe you're like, yo, like, let's do some tabs, or like, let's eat these shrooms. Like, just know what you're getting yourself into. Like, it's so much longer than like taking a pill, or like even almost, I would even say, like eating like a big ass edible. Like, it's way longer of a commitment than that. So just keep that in mind. Be safe. And yeah, guys, this is Pothead. I'll be back on here. You know, I love making these videos, and I love that you guys love them. So I'll never stop doing this shit. Just know that. I just might, you know, slow down the life story shit. But with that would come like vlogs and shit. But I don't really know. Do you guys like the content I'm producing now? Let me know in the comments. And I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.